10, we're about to meet a little girl who hasn't eaten for 7 years. Claudia Doughty suffers from a rare disorder and her parents are desperately trying to find a solution. Our reporter, David Robertson, sat down with all three of them for this Studio 10 exclusive.
When Claudia was born, it was an incredibly special time for Neil. Simone previously had 2 children, but for Neil, this was his first. And he couldn't have been more excited.
It was huge, it was everything, and it was just an exciting time, I think, for me and yourself.
But it soon became clear that things were not right. Something was seriously wrong.
Probably 2 weeks after she got home, she was quite settled, and then it just was this constant crying, screaming, crying, and it went on and on and on, just relentless. Neil's sort of looking at me like, you know,
is this normal? Is
this normal? You've done this before? And I'm like, I don't know, I've never seen anything like this.
Soon, elation and excitement gave way to worry and frustration, the likes of which Simone and Neil had never experienced before. Claudia would hyperextend her body into uncomfortable positions and no one could explain why.
It was all really daunting, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Even yourself being, you know, your 3rd child, it still doesn't,
yeah.
I think, that never changes. The fact that it's your child, it's your child.
And it's that not knowing that drives you a bit crazy, because it's like you just don't understand.
Finally, Claudia's paediatrician found her off switch, wrapping her in a blanket in a way that settled her down. The crying had stopped, but the questions remained.
I didn't know, but I think I did know. There was something pretty wrong.
And then, on a routine Sunday afternoon, things took a turn for the worst.
Claudia was laying on my chest, tummy down, and then she looked up at me and rolled her eyes back. And I sort of thought, what's going on there? This is a bit odd. And she did it again. And then again, and I said to Simone, I said, can you please come over here and have a look at this? And I said, look, her eyes are rolling, it's normal. And she said, no, that's not normal.
From that point on, seizures were a part of everyday life. Sometimes Claudia would experience up to 100 of them every single day. It was now more than ever that Simone and Neil needed to know what was wrong with their child. But still, there were no answers. And that hit Neil hard.
What was that like, that experience of seeing that?
Basically shattered as a father, helpless, wanting to try and fix everything that's wrong, and knowing that you can't. It was really hard for me to get over and deal with what's actually going on with her and why there's no answers. And that's the hardest part, I think.
As the months flew by, there was still no answers. The seizures continued and Claudia was categorised as having a failure to thrive. She wasn't putting on any weight, so it was decided to start feeding her a special high-fat diet via a tube put directly into her stomach. It failed. And when they tried to reintroduce normal feeding, that too didn't work. After that, Claudia never ate again. That was 7 years ago, and ever since, that tube has been her lifeline.
So how often, Simone, do you have to feed Claudia like this?
4 times a day.
Yeah.
So we start at 7 and finish at 7 at night, so she doesn't have overnight feeds or anything.
And does she ever get hungry? Like, does she ever come to you for this?
No.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. Which I guess is something that you always wanted her to do, is obviously say, oh, I'm hungry, I want some food, you know, but no, there's no desire there at all.
Doctors told Simone and Neil that she would never walk. She would spend her life in a wheelchair. But Claudia is a fighter, continually defying the odds.
What a story. And coming up after the break, Simone and Neil share the moment they finally were given a diagnosis and what the future now holds for Claudia. Stay with us. Welcome back. Well, just before the break, we met Claudia, the little girl who hasn't eaten in more than 7 years. Let's find out now what the future holds for her.
We were watching TV on a Sunday night, slowing on the lounges, and she just stood up, just freestanding, which she didn't do either. And then just did these like 3 flat steps at us, and we've just gone, oh.
Finally, after 10 years of not knowing, a $3,000 blood test finally saw Claudia diagnosed with one of the rarest disorders on the planet, CDG1E. Very little is known about this congenital disorder. She is one of only 8 sufferers worldwide and the only one in Australia. Around the world, people are working tirelessly to find answers. and the family had their eyes set on attending the Second World CDG Conference in France, eager to learn more about the disorder and what the future holds for Claudia.
Why is it important for both of you to get to this conference?
We need to go and understand, meet other people, network, meet the pros, meet the families, and just open our doors a little bit more so that we can understand.
Fast forward 10 years, what do you hope her life is like?
I just wanted to be happy. I know she's not going to be independent. I know that probably not going to change a lot between now and 21. Maybe her walking might be a little bit better. But as long as she's happy and her life's full, that's what I want for Claudia.
I feel we're on the road to a better place, knowing her condition, and there's hope for the future. There's hope in the future for us and for Claudia, and that feels good. It feels really good.
If you could have one moment of clarity where everyone understands each other, what would you say to Claudia?
I think I'd say, Claudia, Daddy loves you. And I would like her to turn around and say, I love you, Daddy. I guess I'd like her to understand. Just understand that we do care and love her. And for her to experience that reality would be, I think, to even think about that there's just a lot to sort of get your head around, but that would be the biggest thing, is to say that Mummy and Daddy love you, and we're doing our best for you. And she says, I know Mum and Daddy, I know you're doing it for me. I know you're helping me.
It'd just be nice to hear her voice. Her to say, Mum, yeah. Because I just talk at her all the time. I talk at her and I answer for her, and yeah. So it'd be nice if she could just say, hey, Mum, shut up. Be quiet, stop talking.
What a beautiful family, and it's so important for Claudia and her family to get to the CDG conference. If you would like to help, you can donate at her MyCause website. Just go to mycause.com.au and search Claudia Doughty and give what you can. It would be so much to this family to get over there and go to this conference. Yeah.